And I'm gonna open my physical camera depth of field here, and I'm going to select my camera. So first we need to switch, if it's on manual, we need to switch to target. And let's start our interactive render. I'm going to stop it and put it on the interactive mode. Now let's scroll up and click enable depth of field. Now let's play. You can see that we started already to get that depth of field right here. So now let's play with our aperture. Let's make it really shallow, 1.8. You can see that I'm changing the aperture values, but the exposure is not changing because we set up the exposure to be target right here. And let's put aperture 22, so we'll see everything in focus. And we can see that all the objects at the background are being really sharp, and we can see the edge very clear and all the tables. Now let's switch it to 0.8. That's very shallow, very low depth of field. We can see all that stuff is getting very blurry at the end. Now if we lock the camera and we don't want to move the camera, we just want to move our focal point a little bit further, what we can do, we can use a target. From target distance we can put it on the custom and switch our focus distance. Let's put it 500 more, so you can see how it's shifted from being in focus on our coffee cups all the way to the back to our table here. And same thing, we also can move it to the front. Let's put it 50, so that way all the tables in the front, oops, we don't have anything that close, so how about 100, 120. Yeah, those objects are still too far, so I'm gonna put back to 170 in order to get my coffee cups back in focus. That's about it. Test it out on your scenes, and now we're going to switch to the next scene. We're going to test motion blur, so I'm going to open my motion blur scene here, and it says that I need to install populate data, so let's do that. Alright, so I had to locate this Autodesk populate data that I just downloaded, had to extract it because it wouldn't install, and then go to MSI and launch this manually and just click install and install the populate data on my computer manually. It just wouldn't do that, but I found a fix here on the Autodesk 2019 forum that if it does not install, just locate the file, unzip it, and find the MSI for the populate data, double click on it, and you will have it. The install was done. Now that we have it, I can launch my 3ds Max and open the motion blur scene, and voila, scene being opened with no errors. So I guess they used the populate data in order to animate that character that we have in frame 71. Yep, you can see now she's walking. So let's put this into 71st frame, open my interactive rendering here. And we can see that the lady is pretty sharp. Let's switch this to active shade. The lady is pretty sharp. So what we need to do is go to my camera right here. Make sure we are using targeted right here and not manual. Enable motion blur, and now we can play with the duration of a shutter speed. We can see that the lady already in motion. I'm getting the motion blur here. So let's put a 500. See where she's getting more, a little bit sharper. Let's put 5000. So we have to stop and start the depth of field duration in order to see how it's working. Not sure why the interactive is not getting updated, but we can clearly see that if we enable motion blur and we let it run for 15, one of the 15th, we're getting really nice motion blur effect for that lady. Alright, so we can set it up into a little bit higher quality. Let's put the maximum time here to 5 minutes, and we can already see that it's having pretty nice motion blur here while this lady walks. Test them out.